We had a horrible travel day today. We got to American Airlines, and it was just garbage. It was crazy. There was probably 1,000 people in the airport. We were about an hour and a little over an hour from our flight time, so usually that's fine. And the line took so long; it took us an hour and a half to get through the line, and then we finally get to the front, and the lady sitting there just staring at us for 30 minutes. We stood there for 30 minutes at the front of the line, and I'm like, why are we not moving? What's happening? And I asked the lady, she was like, oh, we're just busy today. I'm like, no, F that, fuck that, I miss bullshit. Like, seriously? You're just busy today? Like, I go into a lot of airports. I've seen a lot of busy airports. Busy airports move. So ultimately, because we were so late, we missed our flight. And I'm on the Breakfast Club tomorrow. And so, it's kind of an inconvenient time to miss a flight and have to get another one. But it looks like we're probably going to have to take a red eye or a later flight and maybe get there, wee hours in the morning, which is fine. And if I miss the Breakfast Club, I just miss it. I hate missing that show because it's actually one of my favorites. And I think Charlamagne might be pissed at me because that would be the second time he's invited me on where I couldn't make it, because there was another time where he asked me to come on at like some sick hour in the morning, like 7 a.m. It was like 2 or 3. I overslept. And he didn't talk to me for months after that. I would text him and he wouldn't text me back. So I guess it took him about a year to forgive me. So, I'll probably end up calling him and apologizing, but, it's all good. So my trusty assistant, Shantae, took care of the tickets information. She's getting us a new flight, a direct flight. So we're going to fly out later. And until then, we're just going to enjoy lunch and enjoy the weather. And there's no reason to freak out and panic. We're going to make it happen. So we're in New York now. We had to fly all night long. And I slept decently well for it to be, an airplane flight or whatever, but I'm not a big fan of long, drawn out overnight flights, across the country. So, am I 100%? I mean, probably not, but I'm ready. And I sent the text message over to Charlamagne, and it looks like we're still on for today. He confirmed the address for me. I'll tell you, he's very professional in terms of following up and all that stuff, and I respect that work ethic, and when I think back about Charlamagne, I see a guy who went through some challenges. He actually, I think he lost a lot. I'm not sure, but I think he lost a lot when Wendy Williams jetted for television. I feel kind of disappointed that Wendy didn't, seem to be more supportive of the people that worked with her in radio. She had producers, and most of the producers and I know 3 or 4 of them, most of them didn't do so well after Wendy was gone. And Charlamagne initially struggled, and he did radio in Philadelphia, then he got fired over that whole thing with Beanie Siegel, I think. Or that's what I heard. I'm not 100% sure about that. Next thing you know, Charlamagne was down in South Carolina doing these interviews with like local access or public access radio. And I respect that because, it showed that he was committed to his craft. He stayed with it. He would call me for these interviews every week, and they would be way too long. And I'd be like, man, I don't want to keep. He'd call me every week, and I'd be like, man, I don't want to do this interview. But I did it because I remember how loyal he was to me. So because I remember when I first went on Wendy's show, he said, I'm gonna read your book. What if George Bush were a black man? He actually read the book. And so, because he read my book and promised he was going to read it, and I respected that, I told my brother, I said, let's keep doing these interviews with this dude. I mean, he's dedicated, and I like this guy. I respect him. And next thing I know, he's doing this Breakfast Club thing in New York, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. That's nice. Good for him. He got a nice gig. And little did I know it was going to be, enormous. I didn't know that he was literally going to be one of the most powerful and influential figures in all of entertainment, not just hip hop, but entertainment. He's a king. He's a king maker. He's the king of kings, and say it for what it is. He's definitely controversial. He says things sometimes that come off a little crazy, but he's running things. So for him to remember me at that space and invite me in, this is the 3rd time. It's just a huge sign of respect, and I just feel good about that. And I can also say, I love what he's doing with the platform also, because he's still doing his entertainment thing. He's still talking to all the rappers and everybody else, because Breakfast Club's kind of a place to be right now. But also, he's bringing in black leaders. He's bringing in strong, thoughtful black people and black men that can really, speak a voice that people need to hear. And I hope they also they bring in women, strong women figures as well. They need to do that too. And I'll support them on that. But I remember when Farrakhan's people reached out and said, "Can you link us up with Charlamagne?" And I said, "Sure." So I did the link up. Next thing I know, Farrakhan was on Breakfast Club. Then Tariq Nasheed reached out and said, when he made Hidden Colors, he said, "Hey, can I get on the Breakfast Club?" And I said, "I don't know, I can try. I'll send you the producer information." And it was a little tough at first, but he finally got on. And so to know that I played some part in that made me feel good, made me happy. Because I feel like we can't underestimate our role in the revolution. We can't underestimate the tiny part that all of us can play in reshaping our community. I think that all of us have to kind of challenge, what's sort of conventional. I think we got to rage against the ratchet. There's a lot of foolishness going on in the world right now. There's a lot of people out here just doing stupid stuff and believing stupid things and being self-destructive and buying into just idiocy. Empty-mindedness. I was looking at like the Kardashians and seeing how they had 50 million people on Twitter following them, and I was looking at their tweets and I was like, they ain't really saying nothing. They're not. I mean, you got all this power, and you're not saying nothing. It's like having a kitchen full of food, and you got a whole bunch of people out here starving, and you use the food for decoration, or you throw the food down the toilet. Like, that's what I kind of see when I see these celebs that have these big followings on social media, and they don't use that to spark something better, to make people better their lives, to make the world a better place, maybe help people raise their kids better, help people get more politically engaged, help people become more financially strong and intelligent. I would like to see that, happen in general. And I don't know if it's going to happen everywhere, but I know that with our little movement, compared to a Kardashian or something, I don't have that many followers. I got maybe 250,000, but I'm working the hell out of that 250,000. And you ain't gonna be sitting on my page and not be going to school straight out, not be informed, not be filled with information. And that's the goal that I have right now. So what I'm really thinking is, one day, here's what's going to happen. At some point in the future, we're going to have the breakthrough. We're going to have, that moment where suddenly, you'll see Boyce Watkins sitting on a $10 million a year budget or something like that, because maybe some celebrity will become inspired by what I say, and they'll actually put their, money where their mouth is and actually invest in something. And it'll be at that point that you'll see really transformative change, not just from me per se. I'm not saying I'm doing this all by myself, but we'll definitely do our part to make sure that every penny of that money is put in a direction that's going to strengthen the community, make us better, make us more educated, make us more empowered. So when I go on shows like this, I don't take it for granted. I don't take it lightly. I don't see it as a chance to shine and just be cool and be fly. I see it as a chance to, like, wow, I'm getting into the brains of the masses, and to me, that is just, it's power, and I like that power, not for myself, but for what I think that I can do for the world, because I really do my best to make sure that whatever power I have, I'm using it for something good, something productive. I'm always thinking, how do we get max bang for our buck? And I don't know how to better explain it, but so when people say, "Are you trying to chase money and power?" I say, yeah, absolutely we are, but we're doing it because we want to make Black America the winner. We want Black people in first place. I don't want Black people in fourth place no more. I don't want Black people feeling victimized anymore. I want Black people to be able to compete in this world, in a world of scarce resources, where you've got all kinds of just nonsense and lunacy going on, where we're being ridiculed by everybody. Everybody's making fun of us. Everybody talks shit about us behind our back, and that ain't gonna happen on my watch. That ain't you're not gonna do that to the people I care about. So ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what excites me about doing something like this. It's like, okay, wow, now we got it right where we want it. The only thing we kind of need, the only thing I want is I want a little more money to work with, because we ball on a budget. We'll spend a few $100,000 a year to make certain things happen, but I want $100 million a year. And that's why I take what I know about finance and investing and entrepreneurship, and I'm always applying this to build better business models, more sustainable models, stronger, more effective models, where we can turn 10,000 into 100,000 and things like that, so that one day in the future, we'll literally be sitting on a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate that is built on the idea of strengthening black people. And I believe that that's possible. In fact, I believe that we can commodify education. We can commodify high-level degrees of intellect in terms of taking those things that are seen as rare and expensive and hard to obtain by the masses and make them available to everyone. So for example, I'm a college professor. When I was at Syracuse, you had to pay $40,000 a year to talk to me, to hear from me every day. Now, for almost nothing, you can hear from me every single day. And also, I'm willing to kind of speak your language and go to your hood and, talk about the issues that matter to you. So it's kind of like, putting, like they used to talk about back in the New Deal, we're going to put a chicken in every pot and shit like that. Well, in a way, it's kind of like I want to put a professor in every house. I want to put a Boyce Watkins everywhere, as well as people like me, so that we can really make sure everybody, is in a position where they don't have any excuses for not getting what they want. Like, you can't, to me, in the age of technology, you can't sit around and say, I couldn't get an education because I didn't have enough money. That doesn't fly with me, because you have more knowledge in your cell phone than most major universities have. So that's it. I'm in New York and I'm feeling good right now. So that was my 2 cents.